What's up? This is about to be a super special video. By the end of this video, you should learn exactly how to become a superhuman through the carnivore diet template that we're going to use. We're going to learn how to use it as a tool to get superhuman results. Here are just some of the benefits. You can read those, and we achieved this through hormone optimization. Let's get straight into it. I don't want to waste too much of your time. This will probably end up being a long video because there's a lot to go through, but let's go. So, by the end of this video, you're going to learn exactly why is the carnivore diet better for building muscle. Why is it superior for fat loss? We'll go through a case study about the Maasai tribe in Kenya. Mistakes on this diet. Why do some people have issues? How to avoid them, like Paul Saladino. How to start this diet. Side benefits of returning to optimal primal nutrition, and why the calorie system doesn't work and doesn't apply to us. Before we start, this diet aims to optimize hormones, and honestly, it's like a superpower. It's like a cheat code just to life in general. And the fact that more people aren't implementing this into their journey is insane. And the fact they don't even try it for 1 month to let them see the benefits that they get is insane. However, we can't blame them. The whole media has brainwashed the world into a diet that subdues their real strength and extinguishes the inner fire inside us. We all know by now probably about the propaganda of food if you're watching this. If you don't, it's fine, you're about to learn. But it's fine, we are going to take advantage of this diet and lifestyle and reap the benefits that our ancestors once had access to. And this is what allowed humans to become the apex predator of the world, hunting down mammoths, bison, massive things, and why we became the apex predator. I'm also going to be mentioning hormone optimization quite a lot, but I'm not going to go into detail about every single anabolic hormone because this video is going to be too long. I've already made a video explaining all the anabolic hormones. It's on the YouTube channel, so you can check that out. Quickly before we start, I want to let you know the reason why I am carnivore, and it's because of this. The superhuman benefits that I'm actually experiencing once I actually went to full carnivore. So my diet used to look something like this. Pretty healthy stuff. Well, at least I thought. Bread, salmon, eggs, avocado, yogurt, blueberries, milk. Lots of bread and things that I thought were healthy at the time. And I felt pretty good. However, I never felt the true superhuman benefits until I started eating like this. Just meat, eggs, a bit of cheese, and that's the reason I switched, and I'm currently loving it. I don't know if I'm going to change anytime soon, but yeah, let me tell you the exact superhuman benefits that I experience. First, and none of these are a joke, and these are the reasons why I'm currently staying carnivore. So I can eat as much as I want, with as much fat as I want, and still get effortlessly shredded. Let me show you my physique. This is how I look with eating as much as I want. I eat as much as I want and I look like this. Superhuman muscle gain. I've gained a lot of muscle since I started carnivore. And superhuman energy and endurance. No crashes and unlimited energy potential. We're going to learn exactly why these two things happen later in the video. No bloat even after eating 4,000 calories in one meal. This is also sounds crazy, but I don't feel bloated at all even after eating as much as I want. I've never got acne since I started. I haven't even got one spot, and I'm someone who used to suffer with pretty bad acne as a teenager. However, now skin clear, skin glowing. I don't get sore anymore, even if I train the same muscle every single day. I'm not lying. I'm going to explain to you why this is the case later. However, I do not get sore anymore, which is a crazy feature that I just cannot. I wouldn't want to go back to being sore, and this is because of the repair and recovery that comes with this diet. Also, I don't get sick anymore. It's been 6+ months, probably more, since I've ever got sick. And I went through freshers at university, and many people, well, I say many people, everyone that I live with in the whole I live with hundreds of people in my accommodation, and every single one of them was ill, and I still wasn't. And I do not believe that is luck. It's not a coincidence, because I'll explain to you later again why you don't get sick. However, let's just say disease loves carbs. We'll get onto that. And now these are some of the most important ones. Zero brain fog. This was actually the reason why I went carnivore in the first place. I didn't change carnivore to get muscle growth, to get shredded. I did it for brain fog, so my brain could think functionally, could think clearly with zero fogginess. And that was actually the only reason why I started carnivore, because I saw that it helps with brain fog. I'm someone who just wants to grind, and when I grind, I would just want to be optimal. I want to be able to think super clearly. I want to have that superhuman focus. And you can check my Instagram out, because I prove it to you there that I'm able to just lock in and become laser focused for a long time, which I could never do before. I always had to take breaks, always had to eat food. I can sleep for 5 to 6 hours and still perform incredibly with no caffeine. I don't even yawn anymore. I'll come on to that. So, my need for sleep has reduced massively. Sometimes my body will just wake me up after 5-6 hours, and I'll just wake up sharp. Normally, I used to wake up after 8-9 hours and still feel tired, still feel sluggish, still feel foggy. You know that delirious feeling as soon as you wake up? Eliminated. I don't even need to have caffeine anymore. So I completely stopped that. And I don't even yawn anymore. I used to go into school back in the day, and I remember the first few lessons, first few hours of the day, I'd be yawning constantly, even after 8-9 hours of sleep. Also, I can go long periods of time without food easily. So I don't even get hungry anymore. Very rarely I get the need to eat. So I can go long periods of time without food. We'll come on to that in the video, but it's because you tap into your own body fat. And training fasted becomes super efficient. It becomes kind of spiritual. I'm able to think super clearly while I'm training fasted. I'm able to push past mental barriers, which is insane while I'm fasted, while I'm training. These are the main benefit. Oh, one more benefit is I don't need to set 100 alarms anymore. I used to have to be the guy, my alarm would be going off. Then 5 minutes later, my alarm would be going off, the next one. Now my body just wakes me up after 6-7 hours when I'm actually truly rested. And the reason that you get these benefits is because you would die in the wild if you didn't have these benefits. Humans became the apex predator of the world. So if we weren't able to perform optimally, physically or mentally, with these benefits, then we would just be hunted down and we would die. We wouldn't be able to become the apex predator, hunting down mammoths, things like that, if we didn't have these benefits. Imagine you woke up after 3-4 hours of sleep, and you couldn't perform. You couldn't hunt, you couldn't think properly. You wouldn't be able to thrive. And if you know about evolution, which I'm about to teach you, you'll know that if you lost the ability to perform like this, then the human species would just die out. You can check my Instagram stories for proof of these things. I'll be waking up at 4 a.m. and getting straight to work, something that I could never do before. So I've seen this in my personal life, work. I'm still shocked to this day about the brain fog. I could never work before for 20 minutes, let alone hours straight, without needing food, without needing caffeine, without needing breaks. And now I can do all of those things. Now I can work without any of them. This is because sugar makes your brain work awfully in every way. And just search up online, you'll see that the carnivore diet has cured many people of brain fog and ADHD, because they're truly able to focus. I wouldn't say I had ADHD before. I just had bad focus, but it's helped me in many ways. So yeah, let me prove the eating as much as I want. This is when I was bulking and when I was actually trying to gain fat and muscle, and I was eating 3,000 calories a day roughly, sometimes less, sometimes even 2.5k. I was just trying to gain as much muscle and fat as possible. Well, I wasn't trying to gain fat, but I was trying to gain muscle. And the craziest part is now when I started eating close to 4k calories and some days well over, the amount of fat and butter that I eat pushes my calories way above 4,000, and I got more shredded. I'm going to explain to you later why the calorie system doesn't work, but how comes when I started eating more calories I got more shredded? It's because my body started becoming efficient, my body started optimizing its hormones in order to actually burn fat, and that's how I was able to achieve my dream physique. And I swear to God that this is true. There's days where I have well over 4,000 calories and I'm still able to be shredded. This is why I've got so much conviction in my voice, and I'm trying to tell you about these benefits. You can't fake conviction. You'd know if I'd be lying, but hopefully you trust me, the fact that I'm being honest and that I've been eating a lot more and I'm able to get shredded. So let's get on to it. I'm about to teach you everything you're going to need to know to experience all of these benefits. Before we actually come on to the carnivore diet and why it's the superhuman benefits, let me just give you a bit of backstory about how humans are evolved to eat and why it actually gives us the superhuman benefits that we're talking about. So humans evolved through multiple ice ages where the planet was way too cold for fruits, grains, and most plants to grow. This lasted thousands of years, and animal foods were the only reliable food source. So all of the early humans, and even humans less than 20,000 years ago, survived on just meat, fat, and organs. And if we weren't built for eating carnivore, then we would have gone extinct by now if we weren't able to just eat meat and thrive. So the ice ages shaped our biology to be high fat, high protein, animal based eaters, instead of carb dependent grazers, like most people are today. And our bodies are the exact same as they were in the ice ages. The most recent one was 12,000 years ago, and in this time there's been no major changes to our digestive system. So we're basically the exact same physically as we were 12,000 years ago. This is the type of things that our ancestors used to hunt down and thrive off. The animals like this. I know it sounds insane, but yeah, that's the things we used to eat. If you've got any limiting beliefs like, oh, the cholesterol, saturated fat, ketosis is harmful, I need carbs. If cholesterol, saturated fat, and ketosis is so bad for us, why are babies born into ketosis and fed milk containing large amounts of animal fat, large amounts of cholesterol, and few carbs? Ketosis is a metabolic state in between feeds, and when babies are in ketosis, ketones are essential for brain development, and every single human brain prefers using ketones if there's access to them. So why do you think at the most vital stage in any human's life, physically and mentally, they are in this metabolic state? It's because it's the superior metabolic state for development. So humans have been apex predators for 2 million years, carnivore for 99.5% of human time, which means our bodies have adapted to thrive this way, to hunt like this, and in this case, that I'm about to teach you, to build muscle while getting shredded like this. Meat drove our brain growth. Our brains have quadrupled in size since our ancestors shifted to a high-fat carnivore. And in the last 10,000 years since agriculture, our brains have shrunk. So, quick lesson on evolution. We evolved eating mostly animal foods, so our digestion, teeth, stomach acid are all built for meat. I'm about to show you the graph for that, the diagram for that. And when you eat the way that your body has evolved, you perform better, because this is how our bodies are meant to be fueled. More strength, better recovery, better hormones, faster recovery. And evolution shows the blueprint. Okay. So here's the evidence that our bodies are evolved to be carnivore. Our stomach pH is very acidic, which is similar to wolves and lions. while gorillas pH is 4 to 5, cows is 6 to 7, and pigs, who are true omnivores, is around 4 to 4.5. However, ours is a lot more acidic. We don't produce cellulose to break down plant matter. Our bodies do not have the capability to break down plant matter. We have a long, small intestine, which is ideal for absorbing meat. Our brain size increased, obviously, once our ancestors started eating a high-fat carnivore. And there are essential nutrients that are only found in meat that we cannot produce on our own. B12, K2, choline, creatine, carnosine, taurine, heme iron, DHA. That is just a few examples. There's way more. And we cannot access the nutrients in plants well enough, and they're locked up in bonds that we do not have the enzymes to break down. So here's a diagram that I found. We have vertical chewing that shows that we're meant to break down meat. Eyes at the front of the head to fixate on prey. Low stomach pH acid, and short large intestines, which is not designed for bacterial fermentation, but instead a short large intestine, which is not designed for bacterial fermentation like cows and other animals have. Finally, peasants ate bread, grains, vegetables, seeds, and some meat if they had access to, because this is all they had. This is all they could afford. And slaves were fed similar diets because these items aren't actually considered food. They're rather just to stop starvation and keep the slaves weak but alive. While the warriors ate meat, eggs, fat, as they needed to perform physically and mentally, made them more resilient, stronger, and faster warriors. So many of you are choosing to eat like peasants. No wonder you feel tired all day, you feel foggy, and you can't perform physically. This was the standard diet of a peasant. Okay, so now we should understand by now why humans are evolved to be carnivore and why you thrive once you eat the ancestral diet that our bodies are adapted to eat. Now let's get into why is it superior for building muscle. So before we start, a carnivore diet is consisting of mainly meat and animal products, and I'm about to explain to you why it's better for muscle growth. Firstly, it gives your body all of the essential nutrients for repair and recovery: zinc, iron, magnesium, B vitamins, essential amino acids. Gives you quality protein, whole and complete. Everything is bioavailable, unlike plants, as we just mentioned. And this is probably why I don't get sore anymore, ever. Even if I'm training the same muscles every single day, my body is so good at recovery that I don't even get sore. And this makes sense because in the wild, if you're sore, you're not going to be able to perform, you're not going to be able to hunt, you're going to be hunted and you would die, and our bodies would not be able to perform. Superior energy source. Carbs lead to energy spikes and dips, while fat is stable and our brain prefers it. And if you think you need carbs to work out, once you're properly fat adapted, you can use fat just as well, and you can make your own carbs through gluconeogenesis, through the glycerol pathway of the fat. So your body uses the fat to as ketones, and this won't spike your insulin, gives you nice stable energy, and the carbs that you produce don't spike your insulin as much because you produce them as you need. Let's say I'm working out and I need 50 grams of carbs for my type 2 muscle fibers. My body's going to produce exactly that. I'm not going to have loads of excess sugar in my blood, which is just going to lead to fat gain. Glycogen stores only around 10,000 calories maximum, while body fat, even in someone who has such a low body fat, like 6-7%, stores 150,000 calories. And this is the exact reason why elite athletes are able to do ultramarathons fasted with no energy gels. Here's two examples of these. Mike McKnight, I've seen him, he's insane. He does here, known for endurance feats like running 100 miles with no calories. Most of you would think that's impossible because you think that you need carbs in order to function. However, when you're fat adapted, he was able to run 100 miles with 0 calories fasted, which honestly is insane, and it should show you the difference in using fat and using carbs for your energy. So many of you are going to think, okay, meat is super good for you. Okay, I understand that now, but I can still have plants with the meat, right? And unfortunately this isn't necessarily the case, because every single plant has defense chemicals, like in grains, nuts, seeds, vegetables, fruits. Fruits has a lot less than the others, however. They still have lectins, phytic acid, tannins, oxalates, fiber, and this reduces the absorption of all of these amazing nutrients. And it's not just by 10 to 20%, it's a lot more. So let me show you this graph. Oysters are the most abundant source of zinc on the planet, and when paired with phytic acid, with foods containing phytic acid, it reduced the absorption of zinc by here, as we can see. When they are paired with corn tortillas, it reduced it down to basically 0. They absorb basically 0 zinc from the most abundant source on the planet, and when they paired, it reduced it by this much. I used to think that plants, okay, maybe it reduces the absorption by a little bit. No, clearly not. By this much. This is probably why now I don't get sore anymore, because I'm giving my body the adequate minerals and vitamins for recovery, and all of it's being absorbed rather than being blocked. It deletes inflammation by removing all of the junk in your diet, which is going to allow for faster healing, better recovery. You're going to be able to train more frequently, better tendons and joints. And finally, the most important, optimizes hormones. When you give your body a lot of animal products, you're getting loads of cholesterol and loads of animal fat, which is used to make all of your hormones, including the anabolic hormones like testosterone, IGF-1, HGH. Additionally, you're going to have low and stable insulin, which leads to high and stable energy without any crashes. Here's some examples of super important nutrients that are found in only meat and you could never get in plants. This is why vegans feel so bad after a few months of being vegan, because their body is lacking these essential nutrients that are only found in meat, and they're super important for energy production and strength and everything. Okay, now we should know why is the carnivore diet superior for building muscle. Let's get on to why is it superior for fat loss. Number 1, hormone optimization. As we know, we're not eating any carbs, so our insulin is always low and stable. So this is going to lead to no more snacking needed, because when your insulin's going high and low, it's going to keep telling your body, I need food, or now I don't need food, I need food again. You're just wasting time, honestly. You're just snacking, you keep spiking your insulin, you're taking your body on a roller coaster, which is awful. So this is why you want to keep your insulin low and stable, which will allow for fat burning 24/7 for energy. You always are just tapping into your body fat for energy. You're never going to feel the need to snack. Additionally, it balances your ghrelin and leptin, which is 2 hormones that are in charge of your hunger and satiety levels. When your insulin's high, it blocks leptin, which makes you even more hungry. So when your ghrelin and leptin are balanced, your body tells you when you're hungry at the right time, when you actually need food, rather than just needing to snack 24/7. Imagine that. Imagine like being so dependent, chained down by food. Like, I need it. I need to eat. Where's the sugar? It's just awful. So you can actually listen to your body and eat when you're hungry, and until you're satisfied without gaining fat. It balances your levels of estrogen and testosterone. Most people have got an awful ratio of testosterone to estrogen. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen the testosterone levels throughout the years going down. You probably have the testosterone levels of your grandfather, and this is not just because of your diet, it's because of the whole modern world, all of the carcinogens out there. However, diet is a major part. So yeah, once you start eating like humans are fueled to, then your hormones are optimized, especially testosterone and estrogen. Many people see massive rises in their testosterone when they start carnivore because they're getting no junk, any of these things, but they're also fueling their body with the right things like cholesterol and animal fats. Additionally, these junk foods rise your cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and this can lead to fat gain, which is awful. Also, it improves your thyroid function, and this determines how fast you build muscle, how fast you burn fat, and also produce energy. Before we get into that, carbs don't make you fat. For people who think carbs don't make you fat, it's just a calorie surplus. If carbs don't make you fat, then why do they feed Wagyu cows grains? The same things that you're eating, bread, pasta. Why do they feed Wagyu cows, even beer? They feed these cows beer because they're just trying to force feed them, make them super fat, intramuscular fat here. We're going to come on to calories later and why that's not the right way to measure your food. But yeah, carbs is going to make you gain fat, it's going to make you always hungry, and it's going to slow down your metabolism. Obviously, you can lose fat while eating carbs, however, it's super inefficient, and there's videos for people who want to be efficient, who don't want to just have mediocre results, feel low energy all the time while they're getting shredded. So that's why this is not necessary. Metabolism. Carnivore speeds up your metabolism as your hormones are optimized from the animal saturated fat. This increases muscle growth, more lean mass, and when you've got more muscle growth, when you've got more muscle in your body, this burns more calories while at rest. Your leptin and ghrelin is going to tell you how much to eat. You're going to be able to eat a lot more than normal, which speeds up your thyroid. As you mentioned here, your thyroid tells your body how much energy to produce, and when you starve yourself, once you're not eating enough, your thyroid is going to produce less. Your thyroid is going to tell your body to produce less energy. So when you eat less, you're just wrecking your metabolism. So you need to start eating more of the right things to tell your body to produce as much energy as necessary. And with low and stable insulin, it's not going to lead to fat gain, but instead a sped up metabolism. You're getting no junk in your diet, especially seed oils. These omega-6 fatty acids, linoleic acid, oxidizing your body. As we can see here, this is a chart about lectins, which is a plant defense chemical, and it leads to 5 times more fat gain than insulin itself. We know right now how insulin causes fat gain. When your insulin's high, you're going to be just storing fat. Lectins can increase your fat gain 5 times more, which is crazy. Yeah, here. Lectins cause 5 times more fat storage than insulin itself. When you eat carbs, your insulin rises, and this leads to fat gain. I'm sure we all know this by now. However, you cannot burn fat when your insulin is high. This is why many people, they go on a calorie deficit. However, they're eating loads of carbs and they're never actually able to burn fat. All they're doing is just burning their muscle, losing their gains, and we'll come on to calories later. It's a quick spoiler there. The thermic effect of protein. When you're eating a high protein diet, you're going to be spending 30%. Protein spends 30% of its calories digesting. So an example, eating 300 grams of steak burns a lot more calories than eating 300 grams of rice, because the protein spends 30% of its calories digesting. And this high protein preserves your muscle, so you're not going to be burning your muscle. Instead, you're going to be preserving your muscle and burning fat. And you don't even need to do cardio once you're properly fat adapted, because we've learned that we create our own energy, so we don't need to just waste our energy standing on a treadmill, achieving nothing. Imagine people out there standing on a treadmill, using the energy that they've been eating. They're just wasting time. They're eating all of this energy in the form of carbs to then just burn it off while they're on a treadmill. So if you don't eat the carbs, then you're not going to be needing to do cardio in the first place, which is awful. Now let's get onto the food pyramid. So now we've learned why why is it better for muscle growth, why is it better for fat loss. So now what actually can you eat? Now the foundations of your diet should be any type of meat basically. You want to focus on ruminant animals, which is things like cows, lambs, bison, if you can find it, venison. Because these animals have the special ability to turn linoleic acid, which is any food that they eat. If let's say the lamb's been fed grains, it's the multi-chambered stomach that they've got in red meat is able to turn this linoleic acid into animal saturated fat with a greater omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. This is why if you're broke, still getting non-grass fed red meat is still a lot more nutritious. However, it's more important to focus on the quality of eggs and chicken, because these animals aren't able to do this process of turning seed oils into saturated fat basically. So it's more important to get pasture raised for eggs and chicken. So the foundation should be any meat basically that you like, eggs, butter, ghee, so more animal fat, bone marrow here, bone broth. All of these things are going to be super beneficial, give your body everything that you need. Then in occasionally, we've got organ meats. These are super nutritious for you. The main ones are like liver, heart, brain. Those are the ones that are the most beneficial I've seen. You don't have to have these too often. Like a lot of people overemphasize the need for organs. And then also occasionally is raw dairy. It's because you do not. We're going to come onto dairy again, later in the mistakes. However, dairy is pretty good. Gives your body a lot of good nutrients, and a lot of fat soluble vitamins like A, D, E, K2. So yogurt, milk, cheese. Occasionally they're fine as well. However, they should not replace your foundations. They should be an add-on. Then we'll come into if you're doing the carnivore diet, the way that I like to do it is in the winter I'm pretty much pure carnivore, and in the summer I don't mind having some fruits. The main ones that I focus on is berries, and sometimes if I go on holiday to a different country I'll have some coconut, and you can have some honey as well in the summer, because the sunlight reduces the negative effects of the fruits. However, you do not need any of this. The occasionally and foundation is all that you need to be optimal. However, if you want, you can in the summer indulge in some of these fruits or honey. And what's not too harmful for vegetables is, not vegetables, avocado is not vegetable, but things that are not too harmful, these shouldn't be consumed too often. However, avocados and potatoes, if you really want. I don't consume these, however, these are not too harmful if you have them in moderation. But the things that you want to avoid at all costs: grains, including pasta, rice, bread, vegetables, especially leafy ones like spinach, kale. They're not nutritious at all. Our body cannot access the nutrients in them. Nuts and seeds and lentils all have got major amounts of phytic acid, lectins, as we know, going to lead to fat gain and malabsorption of key nutrients. Okay, so now we know why it's good for building muscle and losing fat, and also what you should be eating. Next, we'll look at the case study. Okay, so if you don't know, this is the Maasai tribe. They are a tribe in Kenya, and their diet consists of raw blood, raw meat, raw blood, raw milk, and meat. Once a week, I think they have meat. They were able to dominate nearby tribes throughout recent years. They're tall, lean, athletic, and what they have to do is they have to spend 1 year in the wilderness and come back to the tribe with the head of a lion when they're a teenager. I learned this when I went and visited the Maasai tribe. That's me right there, with the Maasai tribe. So yeah, this is their diet, and they're tall, lean, athletic. The Maasai tribe, super. They've been carnivore for many years. This is all they eat, and they've been able to thrive. A lot of them live till 80, 90 plus, which is insane to think about. Many people are gonna think, oh yeah, surely you die from this diet. No, they're able to thrive. They're able to hunt, and it's an example of a tribe that's been carnivore for many years, and they're thriving. Before we get on to how to start this diet and the main mistakes that people make, I want to cover a super important point that I've been mentioning the whole video. Why does the calorie system not apply to us? Number one, the calorie system does not take into account the effects of insulin. Insulin is the fat storing hormone, as we know. It blocks lipolysis, which is your body burning fat. So when your insulin's high, your body is not able to burn fat. And we're going to come on to what you actually burn instead of fat when you need energy. Hormones is what determines what is stored and what is burned. It's got nothing to do with the amount of calories that you're eating. So when we keep this low and stable, we're able to constantly burn fat for energy rather than burning muscle or other things. So if you want to burn fat, this only happens when your insulin is low. That's just a fact in human biology. Additionally, the calorie system doesn't take into account the thermic effect of food. Eating 300 calories of protein compared to eating 300 calories of carbs is completely different, because protein spends 30% of its calories in digestion. So you're actually eating 30% less calories if we do it in that system, when you eat foods that are high in protein. So when you eat high protein, you automatically increase our energy expenditure in the calories in, calories out system. Also part of the calories in, calories out system, a lot of people they only focus on the calories in, which is just the amount of food they intake, and none of them focus on the calories out, which is all to do with hormones and your metabolism. When you optimize your hormones and then you eat to satiety, we tell our body to ramp up our metabolism. What this means is, when your hormones are optimized, when you eat a proper human diet, your hormones are optimized and you eat as much as you want, and this tells your thyroid function in order to ramp up your metabolism and to use as much energy as necessary based on how much you eat. So if you eat loads, your body is just going to burn loads. It's as simple as that. Additionally, being in ketosis increases fat oxidation and metabolic efficiency. The last reason why the calorie system does not apply to us is because being in ketosis provides your body with 4 times more efficient energy source than using carbs for the brain and for endurance, and this changes the whole energy dynamics. So, for these 4 reasons, firstly, the calorie system does not apply because the calorie system firstly does not tell our body what to burn. What tells our body what to burn is our hormones, especially insulin. Secondly, it doesn't take into account the calories out. People don't focus on the calories out part of the calorie equation. And when you're in ketosis or when you're on a carnivore diet, the calories out is variable. Your body changes the calories out based on how much you eat because your hormones are optimized. Therefore, your body jacks up your metabolism when you eat a lot in order to burn a lot. And this is why I was able to eat 4,000 calories and get more shredded than before. It's because I stopped eating carbs, so my hormones optimized and my body burned everything necessary in order to return to an optimal body fat. So, what does a calorie restriction do? The reason why a calorie restriction works in some people is because it reduces the number on the scale, not because we're burning fat, but because it reduces the number on the scale. And this is the things that your body burns on a calorie deficit. You lose your muscle size, you lose glycogen stores, organ size, bone density, and then fat as well. But many people, they just see the number on the scale go down, so they think, oh, I'm just losing fat. No, you're losing all 4 of these things as well as fat. So what is the solution to lose only fat while preserving muscle size, glycogen stores, organ size, bone density? To turn your body into just a fat burning machine while maintaining all of this, there is only one way that you can do this, and that is to become more fat adapted. What this means is you switch your body's metabolic system into burning fat rather than burning carbs, and this is going to lead to your body preserving all of its muscle. This is why on this shredding journey I was able to preserve all of my muscle. My strength went up. Think about this. My strength went up from here to here. Here I was able to bench around 95 kg, maybe 100. And now I can do pretty much 110. I haven't actually tried it in a while, but 110 kg easy. So my strength went up during this period of time. Many people, when they're cutting, they think, yeah, I'm losing strength. No, you're just losing your muscle size because your body is burning everything else along with fat. So you want to be burning only fat. You don't want to be burning your muscle. The only way to do that is to become fat adapted. This is what I mean. A normal calorie deficit, your body, the number on the scale just goes down because your body burns anything necessary. To tell your body to only burn fat, this is all to do with your hormones, especially insulin, as we just mentioned. This is because our body is not a furnace. We don't eat energy. We don't eat fuel. We eat proper foods that have chemical reactions in our body, and they all have an effect on your hormones. This is why we see certain carnivores eating whole sticks of butter and still being lean. I don't know if you know who this is, but it's a steak and butter gal. She's a creator, a high-fat carnivore, and look what she ate today. She ate 4,300 calories. Who would think that eating 4,000 calories, more than 4,000 calories, you would think that you would be fat, you'd be gaining fat. However, this simply isn't the case. You can look at her channel. She documents the whole thing. How she used to eat 1,600 calories, and she's almost tripled that. Think about it. She's almost tripled her calories, and she's still able to stay lean. Clearly, this is because calories are not the appropriate way to measure food. They just simply don't work. And if you actually go on a carnivore diet, their calorie system just doesn't apply. This is why I'm able to eat over 4,000 calories pretty much every day and still stay shredded while maintaining all of my muscle because I'm properly, truly fat adapted. I don't know how much I can stress this, but you need to become fat adapted in order to burn just your fat while preserving your muscle, because that is the main point of becoming lean. You need to preserve as much muscle as possible. The reason why you see many people go on bulk and cuts and they do not make any progress is because on their bulk, they're gaining loads of fat, maybe a little bit of muscle, and then when they cut down, they reduce their calories and their body burns a lot of this muscle and burns some fat as well, and they lose organ size, bone density. So the number on the scale goes down and they seem to have made no progress through the bulk and cutting cycle. Isn't that funny? I'm sure you watching the video right now, you might have tried this bulking and cutting cycle and you're wondering why you're not getting the proper results that you actually want. It's because you're not truly fat adapted. Alright, perfect. Now you should know everything you need to know about the carnivore diet, why it's super healthy, why everything in it is good for you, why you get superhuman benefits, why you get jacked, shredded, no brain fog, you'll be able to focus, grind for hours straight. So, if you're a beginner, let me show you how you start the diet and then we'll come on to the mistakes that most people make. Number 1, you basically cut out everything except meat, eggs, animal fat and water. This is basically everything you want to eat. You can have a little bit of dairy as well if you want, like a little bit of cheese, a little bit of yogurt. Try not to go crazy. So yeah, that's literally, it's the simplest diet out there. And this is why most people cannot actually do it, because it's so quote unquote boring. Many people, they are just addicted to food, and they just can't function. It's like they're properly addicted to food. However, if you just want the superhuman benefits, you don't care about food. Like me, I couldn't care less about how food tastes anymore. I'd rather feel amazing. I'd rather have all of those benefits than have the taste of food on my tongue for 5 minutes and then let it poison my body for the rest of the day, even longer. So once you've done this, it will take 2 to 4 weeks to become fully fat adapted, and the benefits you reap will get better over time. So you'll start off feeling a lot better, and then you just keep feeling better and better over time. And honestly, it doesn't get worse, is what I mean. It's like the benefits keep getting better and better as time goes, and I think that's just standard, because I've seen people 40, 50-year-olds who are still getting better and better benefits. But most of the benefits come after around a month or two. So you just need to be patient for a month or two. That's all you're going to need. A month or two. Let's just say 1 month of not suffering. Many people think it's so boring, but 1 month of eating like this, and then it's just going to become simple and habit to you, because you're going to start seeing how good you're feeling, and you're never going to want to go back. In this fat adapting phase, you'll be losing a lot of electrolytes because your insulin is low and stable, so your body's flushing out a lot of electrolytes. So salt your food well. Don't fear salt. If you want more salt on your food, add more salt. Add as much as it tastes good. And you can consider some electrolyte sources. I like bone broth, but you can supplement electrolytes if you want. Not super necessary. However, if you're feeling a bit tired during this adaptation period, then you can. You want to have a lot of fat during this time. You need to have enough fat for your body to actually support ketosis, hormone production, and brain function. So you want to aim for closer to 2 grams of fat for every 1 gram of protein. Just to give you an example of what this looks like, 1 egg yolk is a 2 to 1 ratio of fat to protein. 1 whole egg is basically a 1 to 1 ratio of fat to protein. So if you're having eggs, add some fat in the form of butter or ghee to get closer to 2 to 1 ratio. And if you're talking about like minced meat, then a 2 to 1 ratio is around 35% fat, and a 1 to 1 ratio is around 75%. So you want to be having 25 to 35% fat minced meat. Number 5, be patient. These superhuman benefits will come, and they will continue to get better and better over time. When I first started, my workouts did suffer for around 3 weeks, maybe. My workouts were a lot worse than, not a lot worse, but they were definitely worse. I couldn't train as hard as I used to train. However, after this adaptation period, they started to get better, and they kept getting better, and now it's better than ever before right now. It's been 6 months now, and they're better than ever. You might see many people talk about their workouts on Carnivore, and that is, a lot of people say that is the only downside to Carnivore when they start, is that their workouts feel worse, they're not able to train as hard. However, it's because normally they only do 1 month as a challenge. They don't give their body time to fully adapt, to fully become fat adapted, to allow their body to become super efficient at gluconeogenesis. So that's why it takes quite a while for your workout to improve. However, now they are, honestly, like, the endurance that I've got is crazy. I can train for hours straight. And if you have any queries about starting, then just DM me on Instagram. I'll be happy to help. Now that we've learned how to start, what is the mistakes that most people make? Number 1, coffee. Once I started Carnivore, I got rid of coffee completely. All it does is dehydrate you, spikes your cortisol, and it's not necessary, because you're going to be having all of the energy that you need being produced from your fat. So you're going to produce all the energy necessary, so you don't need this fake energy source. Caffeine will kill animals like dogs and insects. This just shows that it is a toxin. However, humans can handle this toxin, and it's not going to kill us on that same day. However, it's more damaging than you think. If you want to include coffee, it's not super It's not going to harm your results majorly. However, I feel like when you properly start, after a few weeks, you're going to feel like you don't even need coffee anymore. So yeah, once fat adapted, you're not even going to feel the need for this fake energy because you make enough energy based on your activity level. If you're training super hard and you're always active, your body's going to produce loads of energy necessary. If you're not active, then your body's just not going to produce as much energy necessary because you don't need as much. You now produce as much as you need. Alcohol. This is mistake number 2. Wrecks all of these anabolic hormones that we've been talking about: testosterone, IGF-1, growth hormone, T3, T4, your thyroid. So to a level you're never going to understand. Even I don't understand the actual extent to which it wrecks these hormones, because it's like uncomprehendable how bad alcohol affects these hormones. Spikes your cortisol and wrecks your testosterone and all of those other hormones, destroys the balance of every single one of these hormones. It's because it's truly a poison, so it's not good, honestly, to have. If you're gonna have it, try and limit it as much as possible. It's the worst thing out there that you can do for your hormones. So if you wanna feel great, amazing all the time, then I would recommend getting alcohol gone from your life. It reduces your muscle growth and fat loss to a massive level as well. You cannot actually burn fat when you have got alcohol in your system. Your body can't do much when you've got alcohol in your system because it's such a bad poison that your body is like, okay, I've got this poison in me. I need to stop all of the other functions, and I need to firstly focus on getting rid of this poison, and then we can go back to burning fat, and our hormones can go back to normal. Artificial sweeteners is another common mistake. It does trigger an insulin response, disrupts the gut microbiome, and also it triggers cravings for sugar. So, I don't understand the point of artificial sweeteners. If you want just a nice taste, then okay, I understand, but I don't understand the point. So yeah, you try not to have artificial sweeteners. It's not the worst thing in the world, especially if you're carnivore, but it's still not good, especially for your gut. Fruit and honey is the next mistake I see a lot of people make. They like to add this throughout the whole year. They have a lot of fruit and honey, and this slows down your results massively. You're basically just a healthier version of an average carb fueled diet. What this means is you're basically the healthiest out of everyone on the planet. You're the healthiest out of everyone eating a carb fueled diet. You're not going to be receiving the superhuman benefits that I was talking about. However, if you just want to feel healthy and be healthy, then including fruit and honey is fine. This is why I only include it in the summer, because I still want to have most of the superhuman benefits, and I'll have a limited amount of fruit and honey in the summer if I want. Sometimes I go long periods of time without eating it. So you're not going to receive the superhuman benefits that we're actually looking for. If you've watched this far, then I know you probably want the optimal superhuman results. You want to feel like a different beast, and fruit and honey is just going to slow that down, because you're not going to be running on fat at all anymore, which is what most of the benefits come from, ketosis, which is running on fat. Next mistake. Okay, let's do fat to protein before we get to dairy. This is super important. You want to be having a high fat intake, a lot more than you probably think, as close to 2-to-1 fat to protein ratio. This will be better for energy production and hormone production. So simply just have the fattiest meat possible. And yeah, I mentioned before the eggs ratio, egg yolks, and ground beef. So you're going to be having a lot more fat than you think. You can have I see a lot of people do 1 gram of fat to 1 gram of protein if they're trying to get super lean, because if they're having less fat from their diet, then they're going to be tapping into their body fat. And if you're trying to get super lean, then you can do that. However, if you just want a lot better energy production, and you're going to get lean regardless on the carnivore diet, if you want better energy production, better hormone production, then greater fat. Dairy. This is a massive topic that I want to talk about. Is a mistake. Number one, it's super addicting because it's got caseins in it. Casein is one of the proteins found in dairy, and these turn into casomorphins in your body, and this is there for a reason. It's in order to keep the baby super addicted to dairy so that they can actually gain size, keep having the milk, and thrive. However, we're not babies anymore, so we do not need to be addicted to consuming dairy. We've only been having... A lot of people say dairy is ancestrally appropriate. However, we've only been having dairy for 8,000 years, so it's not actually ancestral. We've been having it around the same amount of time we've been having carbs. And also it can worsen your hunger signals because you can consume a large amount of dairy without feeling satiated, and you'll still be feeling hungry. So you can consume a lot more than necessary, and this can lead to fat gain because, as you mentioned, the calories in, calories out system, this messes up the hunger signals, so you can eat a lot more than necessary. However, it's still super nutrient dense, super healthy. These points are kind of exaggerated, just to tell you like the downsides of dairy. It's still super healthy and still nutrient dense, but I want you to, what I learned from my experience is to have it occasionally. Have it in limited amounts because it's super addicting. There was points of time where I was eating loads of cheese and loads of yogurt and not even having that much meat and eggs anymore. I was eating probably more dairy than eggs and meat, so therefore I was gaining fat. And once I cut out most of the dairy, just had a bit of cheese now and then, a bit of yogurt now and then I went back to being shredded. So it's still very nutrient dense, and it's better to have it raw because of a lot of people find it better digesting. And I'm about to tell you the order to which dairy, or the health order. So number one is ghee. This is super healthy. It's mainly just a fat. Number 2, butter. Number 3, heavy cream. Number 4, cheese. 5, yogurt, kefir, and then milk. So let me explain to you why this should be the order of your dairy consumption. As we can see, the fat is very beneficial to humans. The fat found in butyrate, which is a short chain fatty acid. The issue with dairy is the proteins and the carbs. As I mentioned before, the casein super addictive. The whey can cause inflammation in certain people, and the carbs, which is lactose, which is not actually that bad of a sugar. However, can still reduce your ketosis, and it can kick you out of ketosis for a bit. Still super healthy for us, but it's going to reduce the superhuman benefits that we're looking for. If you care about just health, if you just want to be healthy, you don't want to actually be shredded, then go ahead, have dairy. So let's come on to why the proteins and carbs are not beneficial to humans, and they can actually slow down your fat loss and the superhuman benefits. This is because milk is super high in it's not super high, but it's high in carbs and also high in protein. And we can see that the order of this is basically how much fat is in the dairy product. Ghee and butter are basically, ghee is basically 100% fat. Butter is mostly fat. Heavy cream is like 40% fat. Cheese is the microbes in cheese have eaten all of the sugar, so there's basically zero sugar in cheese. This is why it's got none of the carbs. Yogurt is fermented, so the bacteria eats up most of the sugar and turns it into lactic acid, which is why it's kind of sour, and that is why it's got the proteins, but it doesn't have as much of the carbs. And then milk has got all the carbs, all the proteins, and these are the most inflammatory and basically the worst part of dairy. This is the issue with dairy. If it was just a fat, like the ghee and the butter, then it's completely fine. I consume a lot of ghee and a lot of butter and cheese occasionally. So yeah, now you should know all of the mistakes of dairy, how to do it perfectly, and how to use the carnivore diet as a tool in order to get these superhuman results, superhuman benefits that I know that you want. I know that you want to feel your best. If you're still here watching, then I know for a fact you want to feel your best. You want to soar above everyone else in terms of results, focus, physique. If you've got any questions, then just DM me on Instagram. It'll be great to see you guys with any questions. I'll help you. And yeah, let me know if you implement anything from this video. Yeah, cheers.